Hey everyone, thanks for joining today on this November 9th, 2023. I've got an interesting proposal for you all today, but thanks for joining. My name, Tom Coffee, is the Coffee Nuance Show. We're at the socials at Coffee and Nuance, and we are live right now. Right now we're streaming live on YouTube and Rumble, rumble.com/Coffee Nuance/live. I keep telling you, bookmark it. It's the easiest way to get to. Easiest way to get to the show, of course, unless you're watching on a smart TV, because smart TVs haven't figured out how to bookmark things. I don't know. Everything's gotta get a little bit better, but things are pretty good as they are. Oh, we got a good show for you today. I got a proposal for you to kick off with, and I'll get through the news of the day, ending up with perhaps some good news. But yeah, let's get to it. Welcome to the circus that is American politics. You know, I'm thinking, after watching the Republican primary debate last night, maybe the reason we're not getting the best candidates for president is that we're not paying them enough. I mean, we got CEOs making bank. Athletes signing million-dollar contracts, Hollywood stars cashing in big time. But the leader of the free world, we're giving them a salary that wouldn't even cover the expense of Air Force One's in-flight snacks. Now, I've heard this idea floating around, mainly from myself. Let's raise the presidential salary to $10 million. Yeah, you heard me right, 10 mil. Suddenly, the Oval Office isn't just a room, it's a penthouse suite, Lincoln bedroom. It's got a personal chef now. First Lady's getting massages instead of actual masseuses, instead of from the Secret Security giving her a shoulder rub, right? Here's the pitch. Maybe, just maybe, if we throw some more zeros at the job, we'll attract a higher class of candidate. I mean, who wouldn't want to be the most powerful person in the world for a cool 10 mil a year? Now forget about power, and it's the paycheck. That's what's making us great again. And think about the bribery dilemma. If you're making $10 million, who needs a backdoor deal for some extra cash? You're not going to risk it all for a little side hustle when you're rolling in the dough like a certain resident of the White House. Yeah, you know, and there may be less graft and fewer bribes, but let's be real. Corruption, it's not about need, it's about greed. We'll just have better paid corrupt politicians. But at least they'll be doing it in style. But hey, if it means we get someone competent in the office, I say break out the checkbooks, America. Let's turn the White House into the Gold House, and let's see if we can't upgrade our political reality show to at least a 3-star performance. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining me. Shout out to the chat. You can participate in the chat. Yes, totally allowed. The live show, I interact with the chat. In the after show, I'll be going through all of your comments, so you can leave them there in the chat. We'll get to it in just a bit, but I'm talking about this idea of paying presidents more. And I understand. It's like, presidents make a ton. They're taken care of for the rest of their life. They're fine. Nobody's going to be poor if they're president. I get it. I'm talking about the philosophy. The philosophy is we pay people a lot of money on things that we value. We value NBA stars. That's why, Damian Lillard was, worth $250 million or whatever, right? We value his talent. We value the eyes that it brings to the screen. We value the merchandise that he sells. That's why top Hollywood stars make all the money, is because they're able to make the big bucks. CEOs just mint money. They mint money. You know, it's interesting here in Oregon. I can't remember offhand what it is, but the Oregon Goodwill president, CEO or president, I'm not sure, whatever it is, they're making like $750,000 a year, and this is for a charity. You know, why are we paying the president so much less? So much less. And this is more of a philosophical thing than I don't know necessarily that by offering more money to be president that we would actually get some better people, but just the idea that we should be putting money toward things that we really value. And I guarantee if you have jobs that pay more, you're going to get higher quality candidates. Who knows if that would work for president or not? I don't know. But I guarantee you, if teachers' starting salary was $120,000 a year, we'd get better people applying to be teachers. Absolutely. There'd be more competition, and I think we'd truly have better teachers. If that's the case, why wouldn't it be true for president? I don't know. It's an idea, but it just doesn't make sense not to be paying a ton of money for one of the most important jobs in the world. Yeah, that's my take. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be going through all of that in the after show. But we got a number of stories to get to today, so let's get to them. First up, last night's debates. There we go. So did you catch the GOP debate? It's like a foreign policy symposium with a side of TikTok drama. These candidates spent more time talking about finishing jobs in Israel than addressing the political hurdles they're facing here. I haven't seen this much evasion since my last tax audit. Sorry. Anyway, the third GOP presidential primary debate primarily centered on foreign policy, with little attention given to abortion and former President Trump. The candidates largely agreed on supporting Israel, and they differed on U.S. support of Ukraine. Abortion issues were addressed late in the debate, with candidates maintaining their positions despite recent election results. Tensions arose over China between Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, while Vivek Ramaswamy took a controversial stance, criticizing fellow candidates and engaging in a personal feud with Nikki Haley. Chris Christie, Tim Scott received limited attention, with other candidates dominating the debate. So I watched much of the debate. I thought I'd watch the whole thing, but boy, was not very exciting to me. I tell you, there were some moments when I thought, for me, Vivek Ramaswamy had some great lines, some great thoughts, and I think he's delivering it to the wrong audience. You know, you kind of got to read the room. I like his energy. I like some of the things that he's saying, but I don't think he's presenting himself in a way that's going to just reach the average, regular, like not super online Republican voter. I think the comparison that he made to Nikki Haley being Dick Cheney in 3-Inch Heels, pretty good line. And it was also a reference to Ron DeSantis. But you never want to repeat your punchline. Vivek, don't repeat your punchline. It loses its power there. Overall, I don't know. as I was watching this, I was just thinking to myself, can't we get anyone better? Can't we get anyone better than that? And that's why I came up with the monologue today. I don't know really that throwing money at it is the answer, but not throwing money at it is not the answer, right? So I think that makes sense there. But yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with Lucid here. The debate really wasn't worth watching. If you've seen these candidates a bit, there's really nothing new. Now, I understand that maybe they're reaching an audience that didn't watch previous debates or hasn't followed them closely. So in that sense, it's good. Maybe the debates aren't for people that are following politics closely. Maybe these debates are for the people that don't pay attention at all. And if that's the case, I would then have to get out of my own mind and see what it's like to view it through somebody else's mind that, isn't looking into this stuff every day, kind of like I am. So, it's interesting, trying to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. So yeah, I'd have to think, what's it like if I don't even know who these people are? What would the debate seem like to me? So that is something to think about, but the debate last night was not really for me. It was not really for me. And those are my initial thoughts on it. Did you have any thoughts on the debates? Let me know in the comments. And next up, I want to talk about political cartoons. There it is. Try to find this cartoon online. It's actually kind of tough. Kind of tough for me to do. But, the Washington Post, they pulled an editorial cartoon because it was deemed racist. Featured a Hamas leader tied to civilians, and people got more tied up in knots over the cartoon than the actual situation in the Middle East. It's like, hey, let's not solve real-world problems. Let's argue about a cartoon instead. I guess the memo, you can't bomb your way into a Pulitzer Prize, but you can get a Nobel Peace Prize. Just ask Obama. It's just for myself. Joke for myself. Washington Post decided to pull an editorial cartoon because it was criticized for being racist. Cartoon depicted this Hamas leader. You can see it right here. I'm looking at it. Whoa, look, see, I'm looking at the cartoon. The opinion editor, David Shipley, acknowledged the unintended racist interpretation and regretted any divisive impact. Some readers found the cartoon offensive, citing racial stereotypes and gender bias. Because of course they do. It's interesting, this idea of just the idea that, hey, here's this person of a particular race or whatever, and they're presented in a way that seems typical. Isn't that what you do? I don't understand the criticism. If you were, that's what a caricature is. You exaggerate features. Like, this has been a thing my whole life. I remember going to the state fair, and you could save up and you could get yourself drawn with a little caricature. And I don't know, for me, I had a big head, right? I got a big head, right? So the caricature guy would make my head really big. Yeah, because you're exaggerating the features that are already there. But the way things have become, it would be like, let's say you were doing a caricature on me. And you put lots of freckles on it, and you wanted to exaggerate because, hey, look at all them freckles. He's got a ton of freckles. So they make it even more freckles. You go, oh, that's racist. Because, you know, freckled people have been marginalized in certain areas, such as beach resorts. I know I'm being hyperbolic about this. I'm trying to pick something that's not really controversial for my explanation. But that's what political cartoons have always done. They exaggerate features of the people that they're trying to lampoon, right? In this case, it was a Hamas terrorist who has taken civilians and tied them to himself. And what is the thing here? It says, how dare Israel attack civilians? And so he's got civilians, little babies strapped to him. It's a political cartoon. It's trying to make a point. And when it gets to the area that you can no longer draw someone that has had some negative things said about them ever, I guess. You know, if it were to happen today, I don't know if you remember, but the leader of the Soviet Union, was that Gorbachev? He had a big birthmark on his head up here. It's like a big, I don't know if it was a birthmark or some kind of mark. I don't know if it was a mole or what. Anyway, every single cartoon in the 80s, they would really exaggerate that on it. Well, now I guess that would be, I don't know, some kind of shaming or something. Seems a bit ridiculous to me. Seems a bit ridiculous. That's what political cartoons are. And if that's the case, I guess we can't have political cartoons. We can't have conversations. We can't talk about anything. We can't generalize anything. Because if you generalize something, you're making a generalization. Yeah, that's what a generalization is. I don't know. This whole thing seems silly to me. And when we curtail, if we make it so difficult that people are not able to express themselves the way they want to express, that really is the censorship, right? Where there's so much of this outrage, you get people not being able to even say what they want to say. They're self-censoring. Congratulations. Congratulations. You know, we did away with the First Amendment. Although technically we didn't do it. So, I don't know. Anyway, this was kind of funny to me. Political cartoon. It was political. Oh, let's see if I can. I don't know. Can I make the cartoon big? Let me see if I can do that. I think I have it here on my desktop. So let me see. Okay, let's see. I'll open this with Brave. Okay, let's see if I can do this here. That's not it. So here we go. So this is it. How dare Israel attack civilians? And then we've got this terrorist here identified as Hamas, and he's got a baby tied to his head and a woman tied to his back and another baby in front of himself. So that's the cartoon, just so you can see it. So thank you for those in the chat that asked me to make that bigger. So we got that taken care of. But yeah, just being political. Political people being political. What are you going to do, right? Anyway, next up, let's talk about something that I addressed last week. Okay. You know, last week I said, don't be dead right. And I identified dead right is when you do something that you might be legally allowed to do or whatever. But the consequences, you end up dead. And unfortunately, that has happened. That's happened. Tragic thing. Now, what I did here, you can just look in my little picture. I did blur the guy's face because I'm trying to do what I say. We don't need to put the guy's face out there. But you heard about this 77-year-old American who shot environmental protesters in Panama? Yeah, apparently he took Stand Your Ground to a whole new latitude. I guess he wanted to show what real climate change feels like. It's hard to write jokes about this. An elderly American, Kenneth Darlington, was arrested in Panama after shooting 2 environmental protesters who were blocking a highway. Disturbing footage shows him arguing with the demonstrators before opening fire. Darlington, a 77-year-old lawyer and professor with dual U.S. Panama citizenship, was handcuffed and identified by police. One protester died at the scene and the other succumbed to injuries at a local hospital. So this was really tragic, and I can't believe they just put this out. I mean, they just put out snuff films now on social media, essentially. But what happened is we had these environmental protesters. They were blocking the highway. Everyone was blocked. They were putting things down, tires, different things, sitting in front of the highway. Well, this guy gets out of his car. He walks up to him and he's arguing with them, like, get out of the way. He pulls out the gun. He's holding the gun and he's yelling at them, you know, get out of the way. People want to get to wherever they're going. And these people just kept arguing with him. If someone pulls out a gun, okay, yeah, they don't have the right to shoot you, but perhaps someone's pulling out a gun for you stopping traffic. Maybe they're not the most sane person. Maybe they're not in their right mind at this moment. Perhaps you might walk away. Walk away with your life. Don't get shot dead. Just so you can protest. And people say, you're not allowed to shoot people on the street just because they're blocking traffic. No, you're not allowed to. But it happens. So this is very sad. The concept that I named it is being dead right. Now, I don't know if they actually had the legal right to block the highway. I don't think they did. But obviously, no one should be killed for a protest. But, and I don't want to blame the victim, but I watched this video and I watched the guy hold his handgun out and argue with people for several minutes. And they got up in his face and were yelling at him. Why would you get up in your face and yell at someone that's waving a gun around? I don't know. Sad all around, but this is an example of being dead right. And I hope no one else does that. But next up, here's a little news that I did not hear them talk about on the Republican debate. Something that you may not have heard in your newsfeed. Yeah. Did you hear about the U.S. airstrike on an Iranian-backed militia in Syria? Did you hear about that? No? Okay. Well, apparently they're taking inspiration from online shopping, one-click retaliation. I guess it's the new add-to-cart diplomacy. Who needs negotiations when you can just drop bombs and hope for a 5-star review on an international stage, right? Great delivery, prompt service, would bomb again. Yeah. The U.S. conducted an airstrike on an Iranian-backed militia's weapons warehouse in eastern Syria as a response to attacks on bases housing U.S. troops in the region. The strike targeted a facility used by Iran's Revolutionary Guard. The goal was to disrupt and degrade the capability of groups responsible for attacking U.S. forces. The U.S. aims to deter further aggression while avoiding escalation in the area. Despite previous strikes, attacks on U.S. personnel have continued, leading to increased defense measures and deployment of additional forces in the Middle East. So, yeah, did you know? Did you know we're bombing Syria right now? Wow. Kind of missed that. It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. We're bombing Iranian facilities in Syria. Don't recall that ever passing the Senate, do you? No, I don't. Boy, this can't escalate any further. Like, we've been hearing for 30 years that Iran is 2 weeks away from having nukes. Right? They're 2 weeks away from having nukes. So we're bombing them? No discussion that I see about this. It's not in my newsfeed. I'm not seeing any discussion about the U.S. bombing Syria. Why exactly? Can anyone explain what we're even doing in Syria? Was that ever explained by any president, current president, previous presidents? I'm asking because I don't know. I don't recall that. I don't recall that at all. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up because you may not have heard of that. And if it turns into something bigger, well, you heard it here first. So next up, got a little science news. Kind of scary. So here we go. Elon Musk's Neuralink is doing brain surgery, and it turns thoughts into computer commands. Finally, a way to make my inner monologue more productive. Hey, brain, open Netflix. No, not that weird documentary, the good one with the aliens. Yeah, here's the story. Elon Musk's Neuralink is gearing up for its first brain implant surgery, seeking a volunteer who's a quadriplegic, adult under 40. The surgery involves cutting into the skull to insert electrodes and wires, replacing a portion of the skull with a small computer the size of a quarter. See picture here. There. Okay. The goal is to demonstrate the safety of collecting brain data, enabling the transfer of thoughts into computer commands. 7-foot-tall robot named R1 will perform the surgery. What? Inserting 64 threads, each carrying 16 electrodes, into the brain's premotor cortex. The implant aims to read and track brain activity on a laptop or tablet. Whoa, are we like living in the future now? This brain surgery is going to be done by a robot, and the goal is to read minds now. So I've always said you can't read minds. Well, maybe now you can. This is crazy. We're living in the future. I don't think I would be a volunteer for this, but then again, I might have a different point of view if I were quadriplegic and this were something that could benefit me greatly. I might consider it. So again, here's the catchphrase that I hear on every show. It'll be interesting, right? How often do we hear that? It'll be interesting, though, to see what happens as this technology progresses. I think there's a lot of potential there, and it's another example of Elon Musk just can't stay out of the news, can he? Pretty incredible. And speaking of news, we got to get to some good news today. Good news today, and I don't know that this is necessarily good news, but maybe. Maybe. Yeah. So Amazon is now offering discounted healthcare through One Medical for Prime members because nothing says affordable healthcare like adding it to your cart and checking out for free shipping. I can already see the reviews. 5 stars for the virtual doctor visit. -1 star because they recommended ibuprofen and not Amazon Prime pain relievers with 2-hour delivery. Yeah. So here's the story. Amazon is now offering Prime members a discounted subscription to its One Medical health care service for $9 a month or $99 a year. This follows Amazon's acquisition of One Medical for nearly $4 billion. The service, originally priced at $199 annually, provides access to in-person and virtual care with numerous primary care offices nationwide. Prime members can enjoy unlimited 24/7 on-demand virtual care for common concerns, and those near One Medical locations can easily schedule remote or in-person appointments. The subscription covers virtual care costs, while office visits can be paid through insurance or out of pocket. So, it's not necessarily good news that Amazon is getting in this business. However, we're living in a country where we have millions of people that don't have access, and I think relying on the government to solve this problem, well, it hasn't worked for the last 50 years. So I find it hard to believe that it's going to get fixed by the government anytime soon. That'd be nice if it did, right? I mean, I would like some kind of Medicare for all, for everyone. We're the richest country that's ever existed. We should probably be able to figure out a way to give basic medical care to everyone. But since we're not doing that, some alternatives are going to have to come through the market. And if Amazon is doing this, $99 a year, you can have virtual visits with your doctor. Well, that's better than no visit at all. So that is a step in the right direction. However, you know, it's the people without insurance are probably the people that don't have don't have that kind of money for these services either. But you know, just being able to talk to a doctor, I think it's a valuable thing. In fact, I would like it. You know, sometimes you want to check on something rather than going to urgent care, rather than scheduling an appointment. If you can just talk with a doctor online, that'd be a lot easier and a lot cheaper as well. So I've called this good news. I think there are parts of it that can be good and could be very, very good for a lot of people. I know many people, because a lot of my friends and whatnot are in the arts field, musicians, artists, things like that, that don't have insurance. And something like this can make a big difference for a lot of people. So I'm going to say it's good news. I would like more options, right? More options are better. And this is an option for people. I feel very leery about Amazon being tied into healthcare because I don't know about you, but Amazon seems to be a little bit too close to our State Department, a little bit too close to the FBI and the CIA. But I figure those entities probably already have access to all our medical records anyway. I'm assuming that. So Amazon having it, I guess whatever. But I think it's an interesting prospect. And I would like there to be more options for people to get medical care. And, you know, not everything you need to see a doctor in person. Not everything you need to do that. You know, one thing that I talked about, probably half a year ago, was I remember that Martin Shkreli, PharmaBro, had done a chatbot for a doctor. and that's a free service. I think it was called Dr. Gupta AI. Gupta AI, right? GPT is in Gupta. And that is a chatbot that you can ask medical questions of an AI to get some feedback. And again, that's not for everyone. However, there's a lot of people in the middle of nowhere that don't have access, that can't call up a doctor. And if they might get on an online service such as the Amazon or a chatbot, and they're able to say, hey, I got this thing, what should I do? And maybe it says, oh, well, you need to go talk to a doctor in person. Maybe it could get that person to come into a doctor that wouldn't have come in normally. So I think there's a lot of positivity there for that. Anyway, that's the good news that I have for you today. Stick around the after show. I'll be going through all your comments on Rumble and on YouTube. And I will be back tomorrow, mañana, Friday, for a Fact Check Friday, noon on the West Coast, 3 p.m. on the East. And tonight, I will be hanging out. We're doing a late night hang, Midnight Americano, midnight on the East Coast, 9 p.m. on the West Coast on this channel. So if you're up, swing by, hang out. We'll have fun. Anyway, I'll see you in the after show or tomorrow. Until then, peace. Yeah. Okay. What's up, chat? Good to see everyone. Glad you're here. I'm glad you're here too. Exactly. 10 mil for the corrupt types. No amount is enough. I kind of agree. I mean, I know, right? Would any amount of money be enough for Joe Biden? Probably not. Probably not. I'm just talking about philosophically, if we value it, we should pay it more. Just on general principle. If you got what you paid for, then 10 million would be a good deal. That's a big if. I agree. I agree. And I love the drum bang emoji. Thank you for that. I read today CNN, AP, Reuters, New York Times had hired reporters on the ground. Had reporters on the ground with Hamas at the day of the attack. Foreknowledge. I think anything around a war. This is my take. They call it the fog of war for a reason. Just because something appears to be so doesn't mean that it is. And that is one of those stories that, if true, is really big. But I don't think jumping to a conclusion right away is the most productive. So I think those entities should be questioned. We should find out what they say about it, and then we can evaluate that. I don't think we have to rush to find out, because the thing is, a lot of these big events we will be talking about for a long, long, long time. And so whether something takes a couple of days to really get to the bottom of, that's where I would lean. That's where I would lean. These protesters are crazy, sadly. Yeah, one of the things is, and I've talked about this in previous videos, like with mass shootings, there are certain things that you're supposed to do, that the media is supposed to do to not encourage it, right? such as at football games or baseball games, if there's a streaker, right, someone runs out onto the field naked, they don't show that person because they don't want to encourage it. Well, in the same way, when you cover these protests and you get those protesters on the front page worldwide, and they can see themselves on all the media outlets, whether it's they're in the road or they've glued their hand to a painting or something like that in a museum. When you cover it, if you give those people that exposure, other people are like, wow, I'm nothing. I haven't done anything in my life, but if I did, I can do one of these protests, and I would be all over the media. They would have my picture all over the media. I would be somebody. I would be somebody. I do think that some people think that way. And so I think it is very important for the media to not cover these in glorious ways and venerate these protesters and give them the attention that they seek. Because when you give them the attention, it just encourages more to give the attention. You know, we haven't had people like blocking traffic. I mean, people have always done that, but there seems to be a real uptick in it recently. And I believe that some of that may have been from all of the media exposure about it. It's the same thing with these protests in museums, right? People are gluing themselves to things. Well, the media is covering them. It's going viral. They're getting their picture all over the world. It's just encouraging more and more people to do it. The way to stop this is you can cover the story, but don't show the people that did it. Don't highlight the people that did it. Blur them out. You can explain what they did. You can have AI recreate it, right? There's no reason that you have to show the people that are doing these protests. You can blur them out and still cover the story. But by doing that, you're just glorifying these people, and it's encouraging more and more people to do it. I assume, right, this is just an assumption of mine, that these people that were shot in Panama had seen other people blocking traffic and were getting all kinds of press for it. And they thought, oh, I could do that too. Now they're dead. Now they're dead. Way to go, media. In my opinion, we're responsible for our own actions. You shouldn't be shot dead for protesting in a roadway. But I believe that the media is partially responsible for this. So there's that. I can understand the driver's frustration a little. I get mad too, but not shoot someone. My bullets are for bad guys. Yeah, I agree there too. I agree. But I'll tell you what, if someone's waving a gun around, I'm not sticking around to argue with that guy. I would be like, I apologize, sir. Have a nice day. And I would split. Iran, exactly. It's like that old Flock of Seagulls song. And I rain so far away. Yeah. The all-new T100 model on sale now. Pretty much. Good reference. Eventually, AI will be your doctor. I kind of agree, and it might actually do a better job. Just saying. Don't some companies get a little too big and too powerful? Oh yeah, it's too late. There are companies that are way too big and way too powerful. They're technically not monopolies, but essentially monopolies. Amazon is essentially a monopoly. I understand that there might be other places that you can buy things online, but Amazon is essentially a monopoly. Google, there are other search engines, but they've integrated so well with all of the different tech companies and phone companies and computer companies and everything else. They are essentially a monopoly as well. I wish that's what I would like to see some politicians dealing with. Do things that are going to make life better for me. And I tell you, life would be better for me if we had more competition for online purchases such as Amazon. Life would be better for me is if somehow people would stop just using Google as their search term. That would be much better. So yeah, I agree with you there. Companies do get too big and too powerful. I think coverage of the protesters is glorification of the cause. Look, everyone, I just got hit by that truck. See, that was me. Exactly. I think there's a lot of that. And, you know, as long as you're not seriously hurt, I think protests can be fun. It's kind of like in the day, you know, going to a concert and, you know, as long as you're not seriously hurt, getting in the pit and jumping around and banging into people, that was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun until you get knocked out, right? But it's the same way with protests. They're fun until you get shot. Let's check out what's happening on the YT. Lucid says 5 minutes till showtime. Tom is 1. Putting on a clean Hawaiian shirt. Check. Fixing his coffee. Check. Hitting the John. Check. Checking his signal strength. Check. Locking Coconut in a different room. Just guessing. Did not do that today. I need to set up a room that that I can put her in, but I haven't done that. I haven't done that yet. If I were to put her in the guest bedroom, I know what would happen. I would go back and I would find her sleeping on the guest bed. And no, no pets on the bed, not allowed. So I got to figure out a place to put her. But yeah, we're working on that. How about we give them a bonus at the end of their term if they did well? Well, again, it would depend on on who voted on that. Lucid says the bonus would be a second term, maybe. Yeah, perhaps. Vivek had some real zingers last night. He really did. But I tell you what, the thing is, some people are not... some people just rub people the wrong way. And we can't help how our face looks. Right? We can't. But different people can get away with different things. And Vivek, I think a lot of times when he talks, I think he's doing a good job. I'm not telling him how to do better. But I think it can be off-putting to a lot of people, the way that he talks. And I don't think that he's presenting himself a way that is necessarily appealing to the broader Republican demographic. That's my take. The debate wasn't really worth watching. These candidates aren't identifiable to me. Can't feel anything for this group. I get you there. Erie Ferry says, I don't even watch debates. Was it on TV? It was on NBC last night. Yeah, and you know, you can search for it and find it. There's lots of different sources that you can watch it online if you like. Washington Compost. Yes, that is another term for the Washington Post. That is not bad. I don't know if I've heard that one before. That's pretty good. Washington Compost. I would like a long format interview, perhaps from Joe Rogan. All the same questions for each, but no video released until they're all done. That's kind of interesting. That's an interesting idea. I think the questions would get out there, of course. But yeah, for example, 4 years ago, I know the New York Times did that for the Democrats. They asked them all the same questions, and they put them together in a special, like a special insert for the Sunday New York Times. And I thought that was a good thing to do. But yeah, the thing is, a lot of people don't like. I like well, here's the thing. I like long form content when it's something I like. I don't like long form content when it's something I don't like. I just want a summary. I think a lot of people don't have time for long form content. They have lives. They're working a lot. They've got kids. They've got a family. They got traffic. They just got too much going on. And the last thing they want to do with their free time is to invest a lot of time into a long form content. At the beginning of this thing, let's say there's a dozen Republican candidates, right? And they each go on a 1-hour interview. I think you're hard pressed to find most people want to sit down and listen to 12 hours of interviews. That's just not going to happen. Now, some people like it. I'm into that kind of stuff, but it's probably not appealing to most. Unless it was online, I wouldn't be able to watch it. No TV for me. I don't know if I'd ever watch the whole thing, but I think sometimes it's interesting to see what the people will say themselves. Yeah, I do think it's really important that you actually see the words that people are saying. A lot of times when you hear other people summarize things, their summarization is through their own filter. And for example, when I summarize something, it's through my filter. It might not be reality. I try to do the best I can to be less biased. But we're all human. What does the text on the cartoon say? Oh, I made that bigger for you there. Who was the guy, Salman Rushdie, who had to go into hiding after writing the Satanic Verses? That's who it was, Salman Rushdie. Yeah. The lesson: don't make fun of anyone who might be of a certain background till you're ready to hide. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. How provocative. Yeah. Is that a terrorist or a specific leader? I think the guy, he was just labeled Hamas. And Hamas has been designated a terrorist organization. And if you agree with that designation, then yes, the person would be a terrorist. Blurring is self-censorship. I agree. It is self-censorship. However, I do think that I don't want to promote shooters, and I don't want to put their face on my content. I think if you just shoot people like that, I am not going to put your face on my show. And every media person can decide for themselves what they want to do. All these angry countries surrounding this conflict are not going to tolerate this for long. This is a war flat out. Looks like it. In Syria, we're searching for ancient artifacts like Indiana Jones, but wearing desert camo. Perhaps. Those ancient artifacts might be natural gas or something. Elon and Jesus healing and making the handicapped walk. Yeah, that would be pretty incredible. I think if you're able to do that for people, I think a lot of people might consider you someone great like that. So, yeah. Isn't One Medical the name of the WHO proposition? Amazon in cahoots with the WHO? Not that I am aware of, but I'm not aware of everything. So, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way. But I know that One Medical was the name of the company that Amazon purchased for, what did I say, $4 billion. My belief, if you have medical insurance, these circumstances will happen for you to need to use it. Okay. I was a nurse in the late 80s. I don't make a good patient. I end up wanting to see the doctor to my detriment sometimes. You know, a lot of times, one of the people that I've come to really appreciate are these, and I can't even remember the term for it, but the doctor or the nurses, a nurse practitioner, is it nurse practitioner? I'm not sure. Nurses that have further training. And when I've met them, they've had a little bit more time to talk to me than a doctor. A doctor often seems very rushed. Is it nurse practitioner? I'm not sure what the term is, but I've found them to be very knowledgeable, and because they actually take the time to talk to you, I think they're often better to able to understand what you're looking for and explain things further than when you're with a doctor who's just on the clock and he's just like, okay, well, I got this amount of time and on to the next person in the next room. I think often doctors don't have enough time to really listen to you and take in everything and reflect. They're just being rushed. So if there are other people with similar training that might be able to give you a little bit more time, there can be benefits to that. Functional medicine doctors would be my preference. Pay cash, paper records. Yeah, we all have preferences. I just think that more options, more better, right? And one of the nice things about this is that it's available to people. I think in the future, we may have more people leaving the cities than moving to the cities. I don't know what's going to happen. But with all of the remote work that's happening, there might be more and more people that decide not to live in cities. They might decide to live in a place that is, more in nature or more around a community that they feel safer around or whatever it happens to be. And they might be further away from a doctor. So just being able to check in with a doctor without having to drive 100 miles or something like that, I think can be a real benefit. Not for everyone, but for some people, that might be a really good thing to do. Describe Vivek's conversation style better. I don't know that I'm prepared to do that. What I will say is I know that we all kind of have reactions to people. We project a lot. There might be someone that reminds us of someone else, and we're not really fair to them because they remind us of an old girlfriend or something, right? And so an old girlfriend who did you wrong. And so you have this irrational way that you react to someone. Maybe there's a guy that reminds you of the bully jock in high school that used to beat you up. And so even though this isn't the same guy, you project all of that stuff onto them. What I meant with Vivek was that the way that he speaks could be off-putting and could be reminiscent for a lot of people of people that they don't like. And then they're projecting that onto Vivek. And we probably do that we do that way more often than I think we realize. For whatever reason, my whole life, there have been a certain demographic of people that a certain percentage of them just are really put off by me. And I don't know if it's my voice. I don't know if it's my manner of speaking. I don't know what it is. But there's going to be a certain percentage of people that just immediately upon meeting me don't like me right off the bat. I remind them of someone that they don't like. That's reality, right? And we need to know that about ourselves. And so I don't know how, I'm not giving Vivek suggestions on how he should speak to be more presentable, but I think he is presenting himself in a way that's really good for people that are very online, right? For people that are online a lot and are used to, and like listen to lots of podcasts and are very connected, I think he resonates with them. I think his style does not necessarily resonate with older Americans that might not be as online. It might be a bit off-putting, kind of the way that when I listen to, like I don't know, some young people talk now, just their style of speech is really off-putting to me. The uptalk, right? When people do the uptalk, and at the end of every sentence, their voice always goes up. Now, a lot of people do that. And if you are presenting yourself in that way because you like it or you think it makes you sound smart, you need to be aware that there's a lot of people that don't like that. And that's I think, the only point I was trying to make there. See, Vivek talks too fast and high-pitched, no calm authority or charm in his voice. I think that that's kind of accurate there. And I do think that you can work on your voice. I worked on my voice a lot. This voice that you hear of mine, this is not my natural voice. My natural voice is lower than this. But I have a really low voice. The problem is if I were to speak in my natural, really low voice, nobody can understand me. Okay? And so I learned early in life that I need to raise the octave so that people can understand me. Because if I talk like this, if I talk in what would be a more natural voice for myself, like down here, just people can't understand it. That's just reality. So I turn it up and I talk a little bit higher so that people can understand me. In the same way, I think that Vivek could learn. He's doing a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong. Like I think he's doing way better than I think a lot of people would have expected of him. But he could do better. That's all. Batman voice, yay. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. So his references are for a younger crowd. Yeah, I hate uptalk as well. Absolutely. Vivek is like a Harold and Kumar goes to DC type movie. Well, to me, that sounds like you're stereotyping. And as we learned, any stereotypes are all bad, right? Stereotypes are bad. Anyway, so that's what I have for you today. I will be around tonight, Midnight Americano, 12 a.m. on the East Coast, 9 p.m. on the West Coast. Hope to see you then. Otherwise, I'll be back in on Friday, tomorrow, for Fact Check Friday. Noon on the West Coast, 3 on the East Coast. Hope to see you then. If you haven't so far, hit the like button. If you hung out this long, you can hit the like button. Thanks a lot. And I'll catch you later. Have a beautiful day. Peace.